o'clock and time for Barbara Wells, who gives complete coverage of the day's news for women every weekday, Monday through Friday. She has a different way of doing things, and her sparkle and spontaneity make listening, well, a must. Hi, Barbara.
Hello, George, and hello, everybody. Here in the studio today to make a transcription with us is Robert Walker, the very famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer star, who you all saw very recently in Sea of Grass, and who you will see in the very near future in Song of Love. And Bob has come up to have a chat with us a little bit later on when we get around to him. And, you know, I think it's a nice thing that Bob Walker did come up today, George, because Sunday is Father's Day.
Oh, that's right, and he has several children, doesn't he?
He has two very, very good-looking and bright young boys.
And he's an outstanding actor fella.
Well, I think it's pretty good to not only be an outstanding actor fella, as you put it, but also to be an outstanding father.
Yes, that's right.
And I think, personally, that there are a lot of outstanding fathers in this world, and I think that they're a little bit neglected. Now, Sunday is the day set aside for them, and I think that even this Sunday, when it is supposed to be their special day, some of us have maybe let it slip our minds and haven't gotten a card or a necktie or a posy or something to give Father on Sunday.
Yeah, Potter needs a little posy.
I think that Potter needs a little more than that, George. I think a posy's a wonderful idea. I think merely the thought of letting him sit around and read the papers first before you or the children rumple them up, or maybe bringing him his slippers, or telling him something that if you've been married to him for a while, perhaps you haven't told him, and that is, my, you look attractive, or listening to him talk, or laughing at his jokes, or any of the little things that in the hurry and the rush of every day you sometimes forget to stop and make time for.
That's a wonderful suggestion, Barbara, and I certainly think you are to be commended on bringing it forth.
Well, the fathers are very conscious of being fathers, George. Warren Austin, who is the American delegate to the United Nations Security Council, was named Father of the Year by the National Father's Day Committee. And he was outlining the new responsibilities of fathers yesterday when I happened to see something that he had said. And Mr. Austin said the privileges of fatherhood have inspired men since the beginning of time. But the fathers of today are challenged to greater endeavor. Their privileges and duties extend beyond the family, beyond personal attachments of blood, community, and race to the world. And I think that's a very true statement that Mr. Austin made. It certainly shows that he is one of the fathers of the year when he is thinking not only of his own, but of others beside himself.
I'm glad this day has caught on. I remember back in I think it was about 1928 or 29 when they first started it. And it gradually has now become almost, but not quite, as big as Mother's Day.
That's true. It hasn't reached quite the proportions that Mother's Day has, but it's fast becoming that way. And I think that just a little bit of extra thought on this Sunday, June 15th, for the man that pays your bills, brings the food in the house, brought you into the world, helped bring you into the world, and has your health and your happiness on his mind constantly, would make him very happy.
Well, I'm unfortunate in that I lost my father last year, but I always, on Father's Day, tried to remember him in some little way. And he was very grateful for it.
Well, I think they all are, no matter what. Everybody likes special attention. And so we will do what we can this Sunday, June 15th. So they did, some people did something wonderful for them yesterday that I think is very cute. One thing that I've always noticed is that fathers buy for their children, their boys particularly, the first thing they buy is an electric train. And then the poor little child has no time to play with the electric train because the father is out there doing it all himself. A friend of mine named Joseph Meehan has a beautiful set of electric trains, and his children have a terrible time trying to get near it and work it. But yesterday, George, and I thought this was very amusing, the Lionel Electric Train Company put on its annual pre-Father's Day party, and they gave a party that they called a Kids' Jubilee for grown-ups. And they wouldn't let any of the children in. They just had all of their wonderful trains set aside and let all of the fathers come in and play with the trains as long as they wanted to, from 10 a.m. until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And they gave the fathers lollipops and ice cream and even door prizes to take home. So I thought it was kind of cute that the electric train people actually realized that children have a lot of trouble playing with trains because fathers love them.
Well, Pop was guaranteed some fun anyway.
Well, here's a little more fun that they're guaranteed, and I think this is quite novel. A cake that is being put on sale for Father's Day, And it's made like a straw hat. You know the old-fashioned, they aren't really old-fashioned, except men don't wear them as much anymore, straw skimmers that they used to wear, and they put their college bands around or their local outing club or whatever it was that they had.
I saw that on display in one of the stores.
Yes, the A&P supermarkets are carrying it. Only the A&Ps where Jane Parker has the bakery department. But it's a beautiful 2-layer cake filled with currant raspberry jelly, apple raspberry jelly to be exact. And I think it's and they have "To Dad" written across the top of it. And I was amazed because you look as if you could pick it up and put it on your head and wear it instead of picking it up and eating it.
So if you can't buy Dad a Lionel train, you can at least buy him this skimmer.
Well, the main thing to do is think about him. Think about him and make him feel very extra special. How do you feel about this weather lately?
Well, I think it's a little bit warm in spots.
Well, it's certainly...
One day, especially last week, that is the early part of this week.
Wednesday, it was 86 degrees. The hottest day of the year so far. Thursday was even hotter, but a cheerful thought, and I love cheerful thoughts in hot weather. As I'm mopping my brow, I have to carry about a half a box of tissues in my pocket so that I can mop my brow. Here is the cheerful thought. It was 28 degrees in Bend, Oregon, and snow fell in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And speaking of snow, here's a startling new invention. We can't use it right now, but we can think about it. Have you ever heard of a ski snowshoe?
A ski snowshoe?
Well, it's a new...
Has a ski on it or something? No.
It's a ski with a snowshoe, and it's a new combination that permits the snow traveler. It's so nice to sit here when it's hot and think about snow.
Isn't it wonderful?
Psychologically, it just cools you off. You can feel the beads of perspiration turning into little icicles. Well, anyway, the ski snowshoe is a combination that permits the snow traveler to walk over the surface of deep, heavy snowfields and to coast ski fashion when he comes to a good downhill slope. All you do to change the snowshoe into a ski is to raise the longitudinal halves that are attached by hinges, and away you go.
Longitudinal halves.
Well, in other words, you're on a ski, and it has two halves on either side, you know, those net affairs, so that you can walk, and it's a snowshoe. And what you do is lift them up, and they stand up straight alongside the ski when you want to ski. So then all you are is on one of the boards, as they say, as skiers say.
Very handy little things.
I think the funny part about the ski snowshoe is that it's a brainchild of a Mr. Arsenault who lives in Mexico, Maine. I think it's a strange name, Mexico, Maine. The combination. Bob Walker, who is going to tell us a few things, as I said a little bit later on, just came back from Mexico. So maybe he'll use some of his new Spanish on us.
Break it in, huh?
And there's something else to cool us off. I'm trying so hard to cool everybody off today. A portable icebox. Now, I think that's pretty clever. It's an efficient, easily portable container for ice storage of fish and game, and it's provided for sportsmen by the Pail Master. And actually, all it is, George, is a fiberglass insulated plastic lining designed to be used inside the familiar 10-quart galvanized pail. And they tested the high efficiency of the Pail Master by placing 150 ice cubes in the closed unit for 15 hours at room temperature of 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And at the conclusion of the test, all the ice cubes were still large enough to use in preparation of cold drinks.
I think you're wonderful bringing us these cool thoughts on an afternoon in June.
Well, it's just what you need for this weather. All I need is a pocketbook on one arm filled with those tissues, a portable icebox on the other, Bob Walker on the other, take out an ice cube every few minutes and run it over the back of my neck to try and cool myself off.
And don't forget, where's that Tootsie Fudge?
Well, George, I was just getting to that. I can't ignore Tootsie Fudge. After all, we love Tootsie Fudge, and so do all our listeners. I may need an icebox to keep cool, but Tootsie Fudge certainly doesn't. Here is the fudge that cools itself. You don't have to put it in the refrigerator. It cools itself. You stir it for 4 minutes only. You don't have to add any sugar. It has its own sugar in it. All you add is butter or margarine and some water. If you follow the directions on the package, you will be sure of getting one of the creamiest, softest, most chocolatey fudges, luscious, delicious fudge that you could possibly eat. And if you want to, with these summer nights coming on where people drop in unexpectedly and you want to have something that is extra special, all you have to do is drop some pecans or almonds in it, which makes a very nice nut fudge, or chop up marshmallows and drop them in it. And then I think peppermint flavor is cooling on warm summer nights. And if you drop a few drops of peppermint in it, you will come out with a peppermint chocolate fudge.
You know, I have never heard anyone sell candy like you do. I feel like it's right out there in front of me, and I'm ready to pop a nice, juicy piece down my esophagus.
Well,
if you'll pardon that word.
It's a lovely word, George. Before I knew about Tootsie Fudge, I had a sweet tooth. And now that I've discovered Tootsie Fudge Mix, I have every tooth in my head is sweet. It's turned into a sweet tooth. I just can't get along without it. So it's spelled Tootsie, Tootsie, and it's made by the Sweet Company of America.
Who also make Tootsie Rolls.
Yes.
Florence, a little while ago you were talking about the hot weather and complaining just a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a little bit of inspiration which I'd like to bring you today, which might dispel any thoughts of, maybe dark thoughts, shall we say?
Well, I think that's wonderful, George. I think in this world today, everybody needs a little bit of inspiration.
This is a lovely bit written by one Marion Doolan, and she calls it, Help Me to Forget This Hurt. Do you want to hear it?
I wish you would.
It happened last week. A friend of mine gave me a raw deal. She let me down hard. For one whole shocked day, I thought about it. I thought of the things that she had said. I thought of the look in her eyes as they slid from mine. I don't think I ever want to see her again, I told myself. And at the end of the day, in my hour of prayer, I cried. Please, God, let this friendship stay broken. I don't want it mended ever. But the good God has ways of his own, and my prayer changed to, help me to forget this hurt. And forgetting came. It came through remembering, and through remembering came peace. Back through the years, I went in memory. I remembered my friend as she had been when I had first known her. I remembered the good, simple, kindly things that she had done. I remembered the summer day that she had come to my door, hot and tired, lugging a half-dozen cans of pineapple juice. And she said, because I knew you couldn't get out to get it, and it would have been all gone. And the time when I had been so ill, and she had said shyly, I prayed for you. I kept remembering and remembering all the lovely little highlights of our years of friendship. And lastly, I thought back to something my grandmother had once said. Mine, dear, we're all human. We all fail sometime or other. Love God. I don't blank too greatly, or that should be bank. I don't bank too greatly on anyone else. And so, remembering, I closed the door of my heart on the bitterness of the day, and I turned on my pillow and I slept.
That's perfectly beautiful, George.
Isn't it?
It's
rather consoling.
I'm so glad that you read it to us, because I think it's terribly important that people don't jump to conclusions in these days when, as you say, someone quickly, for some reason, might do something to hurt you. My mother has always said to me, wait and find out the real story before you start to be angry or hurt. Because she said people always have a reason for whatever they do.
Sort of keep a ledger, is that right?
Exactly.
And balance the budget, we might say, on each person before you sort of give out any thoughts of, one way or the other, unless they're good thoughts.
Yes, and the thing that's important to remember, George, is after all, you yourself aren't perfect. So why should you condemn other people who, through carelessness, make a little mistake when you are probably going to make the same mistake yourself someday, and when you do make the same mistake, you will hope that other people will be kind in judgment of you.
We can bring up that old statement, people who live in glass houses should never throw stones.
They shouldn't even throw pebbles.
And I think most of us live in glass houses, don't you think so?
Mm-hmm. Well, you can see in a lot of them these days. It's a rather touchy situation because people have things on their mind. They're busy. They're worried about the world. They're insecure within themselves as to just how long we're going to have a peace. And I think if we took that all together and believed it, that we would get peace at home and abroad.
That's a fine commentary. Very,
Thank you.
very good.
Thank you. As I said earlier, for those who've tuned in late, our guest today is Robert Walker, the very famous MGM star who we saw recently in Sea of Grass, and who we will see next in a wonderful new movie made by MGM called Song of Love. Now, Bob, how are you today, and what are you going to do on Father's Day?
Well, I'm fine, Flo. You tricked me on that one. I didn't know that was coming. Father's Day. That's Sunday, isn't it?
That's Sunday. We've been talking a lot about it.
Yes. Well, I'm going to be here on Father's Day, and I have two children. Mm-hmm. You were going to ask me that. I'm way ahead of you.
Yeah.
I have two children on the coast, and I didn't realize till just now that I wouldn't be there on Father's Day.
Well, I
It's
know.
a little sad, isn't it?
It is because they won't be able. Well, maybe they'll send your
I'll
present.
call them. I'll talk to them on the
Yeah.
phone.
And maybe they'll send whatever they're going to send you here.
I
to
know
New
what they're
York.
going to send me.
What are they going to send you?
They wrote me little stories.
Oh,
you
they.
see, they're in. Michael is 6 and he's in the first grade. Bobby is 7 and he's in the second grade, lower
Yeah.
second. And they've written me some little stories. You see? For
Yeah.
Dad,
Well, don't you think that's wonderful?
I do.
I
think
do,
it's
too.
wonderful.
I think anybody who can write a little story, especially two boys as young as that. Of course, I've seen George. I'm lucky. I've seen Bob's two boys in California.
Thank you.
One time when I was interviewing him for a story, and they're the best looking little boys I've ever seen, and
Thank you.
quite different in personality, don't you think?
Yes, they are. They certainly are.
Are they handsome like Bob?
Oh, yes.
As a matter of fact, they look exactly like him. One day they drove up
Oh,
to
they
the.
do not.
They do too.
They do not. They look like the mother.
Well, they look very much like you. They have your.
Michael has my nose.
Yes.
A big nose.
No, it's not big. It's a pug nose. No.
I wouldn't say you ever big
Thank
nose.
you, George. Oh, I'm so happy I'm on this program. You're making me feel so good.
No. Well, tell us some more about Michael and Bobby, because I didn't have too much time to see them. But you tell us about what they're
Well,
like.
it's really, they're just two ordinary kids, Flo. There's really, I never know what to say about the kids because they're just very ordinary, you know.
Well, of
they're full
course-
of life. They're little devils.
Yes.
Oh, they
of
really
course.
are.
Well,
Which
Bobby's
I
the
like.
one
I
that's a
encourage
flirt.
it. But, well, Michael's catching up with him now,
Oh, yes.
giving him a fast run.
You know, I think, I'm in pictures, I think you, well, you don't overact anything, and I like you for that.
But I
And-
do act. You know?
Oh, very, very well. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I think that's the way you're playing your children, sort of.
Yes, well, I
Yeah.
must say. Well, he's trying to be a modest father. you
That's-
see.
That's it.
Flo, where's Barbara?
Where's Barbara?
Well, I heard this show a couple of times, and there's Barbara, somebody on the show. Barbara Wells?
That's
she,
the other.
she never gets a chance to say it. She's under the table with the Tootsie, huh? The Tootsie Fudge.
That's a very funny question. I'm
Yeah.
Barbara.
Oh, you're Barbara.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
let me-
Well,
Barbara.
who's Flo?
Let me
I'm
formally,
Flo, too.
let me
Oh,
formally
aren't you
introduce
Papa?
you. Miss Wells, Mr. Walker.
How do you do? Mr. Walker, it's so nice to know you. Well, I'm playing a dual personality.
I
if you
always
could
thought
call
you
it
were
that.
schizophrenic.
Oh, that sounds like a very rude remark.
What does that mean? Schizophrenic. I
It
heard that
means
the
a
other
split
night.
personality.
That's it.
I should think you'd know. All Hollywood has been making nothing but movies about people with psychological complexes,
True.
and a few of them have been schizophrenia.
True.
I will mumble that
I've seen
word.
some good ones.
Yeah, when are you going to do one?
I've been doing them ever since I've been in pictures.
No, well, tell me. I don't think you have at all. You're being much too modest. One thing I'd like to know about your boys, you say they're two normal children,
Yes, Mother.
which they are. Are you impressed by having are they impressed by having a movie star for a father?
No.
Do they like your movies?
They've only seen one,
Mhm.
Hargrove, which was a good one for them to see.
Yeah.
They liked it, yes. They couldn't get over it. You know, they thought they expected me to talk back to them. They talked to me on the screen.
Oh, no.
And they'd say, oh, Daddy fell in a big puddle. Did you get wet, Daddy? And I never answered. And they could never get over that, you know. We had a scene in Hargrove, if you remember, years
Yeah.
ago, where we all got caught in the water.
Yes,
You know, fell
yes.
in the water. And they loved that.
Oh, they
They
did.
loved that. But they couldn't understand why I didn't get cold or catch a cold and why I didn't talk back to them and answer them, you know. They talked to me right in the theater.
Oh, I think that's wonderful.
Bothered all the people around them.
Oh, I don't think it did. I imagine the people around them enjoyed it. Do you try to keep them away from the hullabaloo of Hollywood?
Yeah, yes. Oh, yes. We live way out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Way out.
Well, where do you live? when you-
Malibu.
Mhm. Why do you live down there?
Because we like the ocean.
Of course, you've told me
And it's quiet.
a lot of times why you like the ocean. Well, it's quite
Well,
far
it's healthy,
out.
Flo. It's very healthy.
Well, I wonder because I was there. Let's see, it was back in January, and it seemed to me to be a little cold and a little damp down there.
Well, you just have to get used to it. A lot of people go in the water year-round down
Do you?
there. No.
You don't like swimming
Why do
very
you ask
much
me
anyway.
embarrassing questions?
Well, just because I like to ask those
Yes,
kind of
Sarah.
questions. No, well, all right, we won't talk any more about your boys. They're wonderful boys. Bob, how do you feel about Hollywood? Now, you live down at the beach, but how does it feel to be
Well,
a
I
young
think
man
it
about
takes... pardon?
a young man about town?
You want to do all the talking. I can't even answer. You have the longest question.
No, just go on and talk. I'll
Can I
keep
say
quiet.
something?
Yes.
Thank you. About Hollywood,
Mhm.
I think it takes a little while to get yourself adjusted, you know.
Mhm.
But once you do, you can have a very happy and wonderful life there,
Mhm.
you know. But you have to sort of establish your ties and your friends outside of the business.
Why?
Well, because otherwise you wear yourself out talking about business all the time with friends who are actors or directors. Can you hear me? I can hardly talk. Who are actors and directors and so forth, and invariably when you get together you talk business.
Well, I noticed that in the trips I've made out there, that they talk so much about motion pictures and the next one and the latest book that's been bought by Paramount, and it does get a little dull. But you're lucky if you... I imagine it would, especially if you're in the business. Of course, for someone like me, it's rather fun because you don't get the opportunity very much.
You don't?
But tell me, to go back to that...
What a liar.
To go back to that subject, how does it feel to be a young man about town? Now, you've told us about Hollywood.
You mean here in New York?
No, I mean out in Hollywood, too.
Oh.
Or in New York.
Well, I feel sort of a young man about town here because I'm here so seldom, and people here are not quite as used to actors as we are out there. It's nothing to people out there. But here they like to show their friendship, and they ask you for your autograph, and they say we liked you, if they did. They liked you in your last picture, and we appreciate it. We like it very much.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. I've always heard everybody was annoyed by the fans. Morton Downey and I had a big discussion about it.
Yes, I heard that. I didn't agree with him in part.
You didn't?
Because there are a certain, a little group here, a minority, very much a minority of the fans who are not really fans. They're they just, I don't know what they do.
Professional autographs.
Professional. I don't know what they do with them.
Well, as a matter of fact, I know the ones you mean. I see them standing outside of theaters at 11:30 at night, kids that should be home and be in bed and going to school.
That's right.
Or you see them early, 10 o'clock in the morning outside of the Waldorf. The same kids.
They never sleep.
And
it worries you, you feel very sorry for them, but they seem to be able to take care of themselves. But it's a good way of finding out how popular they are. It's a good Gallup poll.
It is.
Well, it is because they trade their autographs, and mine I'm getting up in the world now because it only takes, 6 of mine now to 1 of Van Johnson's on the trade. Used to be 12 to 1. I'm getting up there.
Well, I don't know right now. They aren't very fond of Van right now here in New York, I don't think. At least they're a little upset he hasn't had too many good pictures lately. And he hasn't been to New York either, and I think it does help when
he's been
person
busy.
comes
he's been
to
very
me.
busy.
He has been.
Oh, one right after the other.
Well, now tell me, getting back to pictures.
He's also married now,
I know
very
that.
happy.
To Evie Wynn.
Yes. They're very happy.
Well, I haven't seen them since they were married. I
was
know he
in their
wanted
house.
to get married, but we don't want to talk about Van Johnson.
That's right. Oh,
We
why
want
am
to
I
talk about
talking
you,
about
Robert
yes.
Walker.
Good.
Not Van Johnson. You're much more my
George,
favorite
say
actor than
something.
Van
You can't
Johnson.
get a word in here.
I'm here to listen to you.
Oh.
Well, now
You're
tell
on the
me.
spot.
No, yes, he is, isn't he? Well, he's accused me of talking too much, and I want to leave him on the spot so he can do all of the talking. Who is your favorite actress?
Favorite actress? Oh, I have lots of them. I like Deborah Carr, Judy Garland, several.
Well, you're sort of versatile in your take.
Yes.
How about Katharine Hepburn? You did
I think
Song
she's
of
wonderful.
Love is with her.
I just finished that with her. I think she's wonderful, full of life, and she really works, Flo.
Yeah.
Which is a little unusual.
Is she
really works.
Back here, we hear that she's a little difficult and a little high-toned.
No, I think anybody with as much talent as Catherine has, they're misunderstood.
Well, I feel that, as you
I
say...
feel.
Now, don't... Just because you were on radio and
No, I
got your
can't
start on
imagine you
radio...
doing this. You're so wonderful on this show. Very good.
Now, Bob, we're talking about you, not about me, either name that I have. You did a violent change, a switch, when you switched from Hargrove to the cowboy, Desperado, in Sea of Grass. Which type role do you like best?
Well, I liked Hargrove very much. The first Hargrove was quite... I liked it very much. And Sea of Grass I like, too, because that's entirely different.
Well, it is. Are you going to go on having different ones? Different tastes?
I hope so.
And not go... I know that you don't want to go back to a Hargrove-type role, do you?
No. Well, you see that there are personalities. The personality type of actor, then there's the actor who is an actor, and I think I'm of that class. So I like to do all sorts of parts.
Well, you do them
It
all and
feels
do them
good.
very well. Each one is sort of different.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, you're
Just
welcome.
came back from Mexico City.
Yes.
I've got to show off my Spanish.
Can you say anything more?
See?
Can you say I love you in Spanish?
I didn't learn that.
Oh, what a shame.
I'm so
We had a man on who said I love you in Japanese.
Really?
One day to me, and I thought it was
Morton
quite...
Downey?
No. No. Well, now, tell us, do you actors and actresses in Hollywood figure on a motion picture career as a lifelong career? No bank people
no,
going to banks?
I don't think so. George, could I have a glass of water, please?
Positively. Coming up.
Doing this, I get so tight. No, Flo, I think we're all very grateful for the opportunity out there, but we all want to do theater, and especially coming to New York like this, as I had to come to do this show on Sunday night.
The Theater Guild.
The Theater Guild. We get very restless, We see these wonderful shows back here, and we want to come back and do them, but schedules at the studio are so tight.
Mm-hmm.
Am I talking too much?
No.
Oh.
We want to hear you.
Well, schedules at the studio are so tight that we can never get away for long enough to do a show, which an actor needs very much.
Yes.
Very much.
Well, you get a feel of an audience.
Yeah.
Well, out there, in the middle of all of these tight schedules, you do get an opportunity, Bob, to observe all of the famous women of the world, practically, and all the most famous beauties.
Yes.
And I must say, you do observe them closely.
What do you mean by that?
What qualities are the...
You're so catty.
Yes, no, I'm not.
No,
I'm
I
a
didn't
sweet,
mean that.
agreeable girl.
I
Now,
didn't mean that.
what qualities are the most attractive to men?
About a woman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you've got me on the spot now.
Not a
We're
very
all
bad
different.
spot, a nice spot.
Well, I think a man appreciates a certain amount of chic.
Mm-hmm.
Not any tremendous good looks or anything, but wonderful personality, a solid, good personality,
Mm-hmm.
good dresses,
Mm-hmm.
a certain amount of sweetness.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't want much, just about everything.
Just about everything.
Just about everything. How about girls who have careers? Do you like girls who have careers?
Yes, not to marry, but to know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, why not to marry?
What another spot here. Why not to marry? Well,
I hear
don't
so
know.
many
I
actors
think
say that, and that's why I wonder.
I think being a wife and a mother is just that.
Mhm.
I think that's a tremendous job.
Well, I think in this country,
You can't
particularly,
do
Bob, at this
2 or
point,
3.
too many girls are concentrating on trying to combine the both. And you either must have a career or you must
Well, I
have
think it takes an awfully remarkable woman to do it.
to combine all
And
three
there are
of them.
very few, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it takes an awful lot out of a woman if she does give a lot to her family. You know? And she can't do 2 things at once.
No, that's true. I think marriage as a career in itself needs a publicity agent in this country. Too many young girls are thinking that they have to have jobs, along with a husband and a home and a wife. And you say it does take a remarkable woman. Well, you're here to do the Theater Guild show. How long are you going to be in New York?
Leaving Monday forenoon.
Well, I think you're wonderful to squeeze my show in your schedule.
Yes, are we almost off?
We're almost off. I certainly thank you very much, Bob, for coming
Well,
up
thank you for
and
inviting
making
me.
this transcription with us.
Thank you, and best of luck on your show. God bless you.
Thank you. We will all go out and see Song of Love the minute
do
it
it.
comes to New York.
Buy lots of
and
tickets.
cheer for Robert Walker, who came on our show.
All right.
And our guests on Monday, George, did you know who our guests on Monday are?
No, but I'd certainly like to know.
It's our contest winner and Mrs. Parker Starr of Plainfield, New Jersey, and Sally Victor, the very famous hat designer who's going to present Mrs. Starr with a hat.
Well, I did know that, didn't I? You said that last week.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the pre-show will be a little luncheon engagement. Is that right?
Yes, we don't know where we're going to lunch yet. We haven't asked Mrs. Starr, but it'll be wherever she wants to lunch.
Oh, that should be very interesting. And on the program, you're going to discuss this letter, of course, and some of the things that she wrote into the show about. Isn't that right?
Exactly.
So everyone, be sure to be on hand on Monday at the usual time, 3 o'clock, and hear Barbara Wells give complete coverage of the day's news for women and interview another famous person.
Goodbye, everybody.
This is the Mutual Broadcasting System. Yes, 3 o'clock, and as we all know, it's time for Barbara Wells, who brings fun and information to our afternoon. Every weekday, Monday through Friday, she gives us complete coverage of the day's news for women, gives her views on what's going on, and interviews famous personalities. Happy Blue Monday, Barbara.
That's a funny way to say hello, George. You always are putting me off of my track. Hello, everybody. Happy Blue Monday, as George puts it. We certainly do have a wonderful guest here today, I think.
I do, too.
As I said on Friday, our guest today is Mr. James Stewart, a sort of up-and-coming motion picture actor who's trying very hard to get to be a star and at the moment is doing so in a play called Harvey that I think a great many people have heard of on Broadway and will be there for 7 more weeks.
I hear the crowds are gathering around to see his thespian endeavor, too.
They certainly are because, as I told you, I was there on the opening night, and they were all around, not only to see the play, but to see Mr. Stewart doing the part. So a little bit later on, he will tell us of the various things that he went through in getting prepared to open on Broadway after quite a few years.
Well, good, and we shall all listen.
Mm-hmm. You know, something was brought to my attention over the weekend, George, that I thought brought forth a very fine point. And though this is a Blue Monday, it's the beginning of the week. And I think that at the beginning of the week and the end of the week, but particularly the beginning, everyone should stop for a minute and take stock of themselves and perhaps try to improve various faults that they might find they have gathered up in the course of leading a very busy, hectic life.
You mean see what they had left over from last week and what they're going to begin the new week with, huh? Acquiring.
Yes, acquiring. Benjamin Disraeli, who was the Earl of Beaconsfield, said in a speech before the House of Commons once in 1865, Disraeli, who was very well known for the bright and brilliant things that he said, mentioned at the time, there are rare instances when the sympathy of a nation approaches those tenderer feelings which are generally supposed to be peculiar to the individual and to be the happy privilege of private life. And this is one. In this case, I have learned when that did happen. There were two American war veterans who had saved their money and were going to build a gas station. And the UN came along. They were going to build the gas station in mid-Manhattan and try and start their own business. And as you know, the UN came along and took over certain sections of Manhattan in which they're going to build many buildings. And in taking over the land, they had to deprive these two war veterans of the property that they had gotten for their gas station. Now, you would think that they wouldn't worry very much about this and it wouldn't bother a big organization like the UN, but instead they got together and signed an agreement whereby they lent to the two American war veterans $5,000, and they are going to find them a new gas station to replace the old one that they had. And I think it's pretty amazing when it's proven that not only one nation has a heart, but all of the nations put together have one. And I think it's a very good lesson for all individual people to learn that if you give individually, then you'll not only have a generous nation, but you will have a life that is better and more friends, and you'll feel a great deal prouder of yourself when you're through.
The goodwill toward men, which will give us peace on earth.
Yes, well, you know, George, in these times, which are very trying, and no one feels secure and no one is sure of their next-door neighbor or their next-door country, of just what they want out of life, it's pretty easy to forget that the thing to do is to give. I saw a movie the other night called Miracle on 34th Street, and in it, Edmund Gwenn, who plays the part of the Macy Santa Claus, spoke a wonderful line. He said to a girl who was a non-believer and who didn't believe in being kind and in being good and in trusting other people, he said, you must remember that Christmas is not a day, it's a state of mind. And I think that if we all try and remember that and put ourselves out a little bit more to extend ourselves to other people, even if it deprives us of something, that we will find ourselves a lot happier.
Mighty good words. There was a lot of good psychology in that picture.
Yes, it was. I walked over Friday night to see it a second time. I had seen it originally, and I just wanted to go and see it again. And it not only is so very funny, it kills you. The whole audience was roaring with laughter. But the psychology of it is the gentlest psychology in the world, and as a result, the best.
Mm-hmm.
But after Friday, I drove up to the country. I told you I was going on another bucolic junket, as I called it, and I went up to Purchase, New York. I'm always very delighted to find real country within driving distance of New York City, and where you were sort of away from the idea of soot and steel and all of those things. I went up to visit some friends of mine, and this is something that I know everyone would like to hear about because it's one of the most unusual summer places, country places, not only a summer place, that I have ever seen. Originally, it was a very large estate in Purchase, and when the man who owned it died, he broke up the land and sold it in plots to different people. Now, they aren't little plots. Each person bought quite a bit of land. But these friends of mine bought the garage. It happened to be a 14-car garage. And you know what a garage looks like. It's just a big square building, and they made a house out of it. And this woman did it all herself, Mrs. Berlin, who has the most unique and best decorating taste that I have seen in a long time. She should really go in the business, except she is busy being the mother of two very attractive daughters. And she built a living room, covered the ceiling, left the brick walls standing and painted them dark brown, and then had big white doors and lots of windows, and has done it in mulberry, chartreuse, and gray chintzes, so it's very gay looking. But I couldn't get over the fact that out of a garage you could make a beautiful house. However, the garage is only big enough to hold Mr. and Mrs. Berlin and their daughter Richie and their daughter Bridget, which is spelled Brigid, not E-T, the way most people do. And they had, on the property, they had a gardener's cottage and superintendent's cottage, and they turned these into guest houses for the people who spent the weekends with them. And in walking around the houses, I observed many good decorating hints. There are a lot of bedrooms that are small and have eaves and the ceiling sloped down. And you're very aware of the fact that it's a small room because the walls are so irregular and close. And I think the best way to handle a room like this is to do one wall in wallpaper and the other three. How many walls can you have in a room?
Well, you have a ceiling. We'll call that a wall.
Monday, everybody's confused. You have the one wall in wallpaper, and then the other three are painted in the same color that predominates in the wallpaper. For instance, one of her bedrooms that is just big enough for a single bed, a dresser, a little dressing table, and a chair. It's a very little room. She has done it with lime green walls, and then the wall behind the beds is done with printed lime green and lavender wallpaper. And it certainly takes your eye off the fact that the rooms are very small. Another thing that Mrs. Berlin has done, that I think is particularly cute, everybody who has children likes to have their baby pictures around. Some people stick them in books and stick them in the attic, and then no one can ever see it. And she's taken the pictures of her two daughters, who are very grown up now and very attractive little girls. She took pictures of them when they were children and has had them framed in a group, a series of 8 pictures, in little tiny old-fashioned frames, and has hung them on the wall as you would hang old English prints in a group of 8. And it's very attractive, and it keeps your children right around you. So all of those things I think are very helpful when you see someone who uses their own ingenuity to that degree.
You know, Florence, you completely amaze me.
I do.
You know more people than anyone I have ever known, and you have really fine weekends in little out-of-the-way places. Now, this town of Purchase, New York, isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
I'd like to know, did you inquire where that name came from? It always fascinated me.
No, George, I didn't inquire. I should have, but I didn't. You're always asking me these awkward questions. Why don't you ask me these questions before this broadcast? I didn't inquire where the name came from. I imagine it came when somebody purchased it and couldn't think of another name.
Well, you have such an eye for detail. You can go into a room and then come down here without notes or anything and describe exactly what the room was, what it consisted of.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, that is the masculine attitude that would want to know where the name Purchase came from, because after all, you all run the real estate business. I primarily was interested in the decorating end of it, so I'm sorry that I slipped up on being a thorough reporter, shall we put it?
You didn't slip up in the least.
I'll call up my friends, and before the broadcast is over, I'll have someone call up and find out where the name Purchase came from.
Well, I'll bet you someone writes in. That's the reason I brought it up, because who would think to ask such a thing but somebody like me who...
Well...
We'll let that go.
Yes, we'll let that go. However, to get on to another subject before George asks me any more embarrassing questions, speaking of household hints, here is one that I think will save you a lot of pain, and that is if you're painting a ceiling, as lots of people do paint their own ceilings, it's from having to hold the brush upside down as you stand up. Of course, I'm describing this with my hands, which is going to help no one. But you're holding the brush upside down. When you do paint a ceiling, you'll find out that great blobs of paint fall down the handle onto your hands and your nose and in your eyes and in your hair and get all over your clothes. And it's very awkward. Of course, if you're a painter and in old overalls, you don't care. But if you're doing your own work at home, it's difficult. Now, the way to prevent that is to cut a rubber ball in half. Push one of the halves up on the handle, and it will catch all the drippings. Don't you think that's cute?
That is.
Yes.
Good.
Well, it saves a lot of trouble. And here's another household hint.
You wouldn't have to wear goggles then, would you?
Mr. Stewart is looking at me like I'm crazy. I don't know whether he's ever painted his own ceiling. All he'd have to do is put the paint on top of his head. His head rubs the ceiling anyway and move across the room. But, however, Mrs. A. Kranz of Brooklyn, New York, wrote in to add to my hint that I gave last week about dipping a nail in paraffin so that you wouldn't, let the plaster drop as you tried to hammer it into the wall. And Mrs. Kranz says that if you're afraid you'll whack your finger when you're pounding your paraffin nails into the wall, just push the nail through a piece of stiff paper, which will hold the nail in place, and then you hold onto the paper and keep the nail in place. Then you can pound to your heart's content, and your fingers are safe.
Really a little helpful hint.
It certainly is. I think it's wonderful. You know when nobody's going to be safe?
No, when's that?
Tuesday, July 29th.
Oh, that's the party date.
Yes, that will be our next audience show. We're having a repeat performance of our Charles of the Ritz beauty party, And for the mere purpose, I should say the mere purpose, for the purpose of bringing back our 4 contest winners who will be there and will appear on the show, and they will tell the story of how they were done over, of just what the reaction was to it, and how they like this new personality that Charles of the Ritz has given them. And other than that, of course, which every woman likes to know that she's going to get something when she comes out and goes to a show, some very beautiful prizes will be given away to the studio audience by Charles of the Ritz.
And, of course, we're all looking forward to that. But another date I'm looking forward to is tomorrow, July 22nd.
Why?
When Look magazine comes out with a story disclosing the life from dawn till dusk of that leading female huckster, as they put it, Florence Pritchett.
Thank you, George. That's enough of a plug. However, if you want to come to our repeat performance of the Beauty Party, do write in for your tickets now so that you'll be sure to get them in time, because last time so many of you couldn't come and we were sorry to miss meeting you.
Address your cards or letters and be sure to state how many tickets you want to Barbara Wells, WOR, New York 18.
Mm-hmm. Did you know, George, that tonight, that wonderful show, Did Justice Triumph, moves from 8:30 to 9 p.m. following Scotland Yard?
I think that's one of the finest whodunits on the air lanes.
Well, I do, too, and I'm glad that it's moving up to a time when so many more people can listen to it. And I have gotten news from the programming department that tonight's script, which is called The Mimic Murders, is a really good script and one that nobody's going to be able to figure out who done it until the very end when they tell them. So I hope everybody will listen in tonight at 9 o'clock.
It's good, easy, and thrilling listening.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's something else that everybody should go see. We are slowly and surely getting around to 3:15 when I can stop doing all of this talking and Mr. James Stewart can do a little on his own. However, during July, and there is only 1 week left in July, at the Metropolitan Museum, there is a very good and interesting art display. They are paintings looted from the Netherlands, by Nazis during the war and returned to the owners by the United States Army. 46 paintings were sent here by owners for exhibit as their expression of gratitude, and there are 34 Dutch artists represented. Most of them are not well known to America. They're all by 17th century painters, but some are by Rembrandt, John Steen, and Jacob van Ruysdael. Of course, if any of my listeners are Dutch, that pronunciation might not have been perfect. However, the paintings are arranged with care to show the typical themes, landscapes, city views, figures, still lives, and the patrons of this exhibit are people such as our president, Mr. Truman, General Eisenhower, Queen Wilhelmina, and many other people. So I think that if you stop by the Metropolitan Museum, you will be very interested in that art exhibit. And then, here's something else. To encourage artists who can't get showings in professional galleries, the Stanley Theater has placed its lounge at their disposal for exhibitions. So if any of you paint, you just get in touch with the Stanley Theater and you can have your things exhibited. Mm-hmm. Now, as I said earlier, our guest today, I'm not going to waste 1 minute of any more time. It is exactly 3:15. And our guest today is a fairly well-known actor who's trying very hard, as I said earlier, to get to be a great big movie star, Mr. James Stewart, who we have all seen on the screen, and who is now currently starring as Elwood P. Dowd, and who at the moment is gargling and doing all kinds of things, starring as Elwood P. Dowd in that fantastic play produced by Brock Pemberton, Harvey. Now, I think that that is about as much as I should say, Mr. Stewart.
Thank you, Miss Wells.
Oh, you're welcome. Any time at all.
I want to take this opportunity to tell you that I think it's just wonderful the way that you just keep talking on and on there.
Well, I'm glad.
And she doesn't have any script. You just, how do you remember all that stuff?
I don't know. I've talked most of my life, and I find that I just save it all up for this half hour.
Well, I thought all you girls in the radio here had it all typed out and everything. You just talk, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's very good. It's amazing the way you can remember. I don't know whether it's amazing or not, but I'm very impressed.
Well, I'm glad you're impressed, Mr. Stewart.
Maybe everybody can remember stuff like that.
Can't you remember
No,
things?
I for a long time, I couldn't remember my hat size.
You couldn't? What size is it?
Oh, you want want to bring the thing right to a head right now. Huh?
No, right now, before the show's over. I can't remember where Purchase got its name, so it's all right for you to not remember your hat size. But tell me.
You didn't even ask anybody about Purchase. Somebody certainly told. Oh, go ahead.
Well, Jimmy, tell me. You came to New York to do a play, Harvey, and in movies you have scripts and you do them a scene at a time. Did you have any trouble in coming back to do a whole play and memorizing the part?
Oh, yes. I hadn't done it for 13 or 14 years, and it's a very difficult thing. It's very hard, especially in a play that has been going a long time, so you want to get every and, if, and but, and that's very hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very difficult. And, of course, you always have that fear of opening night of something happening to the line. Of course, there are so many things that can happen.
Well, like what, for
Opening
example?
night. Well, I was thinking about in those sleepless nights I had there, and before the opening, I was thinking about all the things that could happen on an opening night, and some that I just remembered when I was on the stage years ago, things that really happened. But and I sort of put them in categories. I put them. Well, I didn't really put them in categories, but I suppose you could, if you wanted to put them in categories. You could say like you know, when you used to make an outline of something in school, you'd say Roman numeral 1.
Yes.
Let's call it unfortunate things that can happen.
By James
Opening night by James Stewart.
All right, well,
Roman numeral 1.
All right, go on. I'm fascinated.
Now, this would be, would just say Roman numeral 1, all the unfortunate things that could happen. Hello. Roman numeral 1.
I think we should... Jimmy is now saying hello to some people who are peeking through doors. And
all
things.
the girls in the organization.
Roman numeral 1
Yes, go on.
is non-fatal happenings.
Non-fatal.
Yes. Now, non-fatal. Then a small one under Roman numeral
1A.
No, we'll get to A later. Small one. Small one would be, I would say, voice flub dubs.
What? What in the world are voice flub dubs?
Well, a voice flub dub is just you have a line to say, and you say, some people think I'm going to be on time for the appointment, but I'm going to be later than most people think. Well, instead of saying most people think, you say and most people pink.
Oh,
and you don't notice it, you see. But the person that you're saying it to either faints or laughs or drops the teacup or something, and it's confusing to the audience. But they forget about it pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? That was one under
Roman numeral 1,
Well,
non-fatal happenings on opening night.
Well, then I'd say small number 2 under that would be mechanical things, or physical. Let's go to the physical things first, and that is just coming on the stage and tripping and falling down.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very good.
I've done that, and that again. Especially in a serious play, which is the one I did it in. Couldn't be a comedy, but I forget coming in to tell my wife that I'm going to leave her or something, and I fell down.
Well,
I just tripped on the pressure. Well, that was there again. The audience sort of forgets about it, and it isn't too serious, and you can overcome that. Then I'd say where are we now?
We're through 1 and 2 in non-fatal.
2, 3, I would say would be prop misfortunes. Well, the prop is anything where you go to a door and open the door and the doorknob comes off.
Well,
and that's or you back into a potted plant and it falls over and all the plant comes out and you have to, or you want to light a cigarette and the match keeps going out because you're nervous and you're blowing out instead of in, and so the cigarette you can't light the cigarette. I've had that happen. Or with teacups, when the teacup, you have the teacup before they pour the tea in the teacup, the shaking makes the teacup rattle, and the teacup usually falls off the cup, off the saucer, and breaks. And of course there aren't any more cups, so you can't have any tea, and that's probably the cup that the poison's in, you know.
I know.
So it spoils the story. But even then, you can get over that. Well, those are the things that could happen, and of course you have the stage manager who can, if you just forget a line. Of course, that's another classification. But if you just forget a line, well, the stage manager can tell you, or somebody else can tell you, and lots of times the audience can tell you what it is.
Yes.
So that isn't so hard. But now that, I think that would take care of that category. Then the other category, Roman numeral 2,
Yes.
is the fatal type of. The fatal type, and under that, I would say, I want to make it quite clear to you, Miss Wells, that these are certainly not all the things that can happen to you, but they're just the things that kind of come to my mind at the moment. The under Roman numeral 2 of the fatal type happenings on the stage is a thing that is known as the dry-up.
What's that?
Well, the dry-up,
How can you dry up if you're playing the part of an inebriate like Elwood P. Dowd?
well, I'm glad you asked that question.
You are.
Yeah,
You are.
it's a very good question.
Well, I'm glad you think so.
Well, that's all right, Barbara. I'm willing to like a question if it comes to me all in good faith.
Well, go on.
Where were we? Were we under
You were drying up.
Roman numeral
I'm broken
2?
up and you're drying up.
Roman numeral 2.
Yes, go on.
The dry-up. No, Roman numeral 2 is the classification, which is fatal happening.
Yes. So now
Well-
you're drying up.
Well, you want me to
No.
get worried about it?
No.
Keep looking at the clock all the
No,
time.
I'm sorry. I can't say very much. You've got me laughing
I'm
so
not-
hard.
The dry-up is a thing that is known. It's a sort of a paralysis that comes over you, and you come to a line, and suddenly everything stops, and you can't move, and the stage manager throws the line. Suppose, just to illustrate my point, which is Roman numeral 2 of the right. Suppose the line is, Geraldine, I'm going to leave through that door. And as you say door, you point to the door. Well, you point, but you dry up on door. See?
Yeah.
Everything stops. And the stage manager calls to you and says the line, but nothing happens. And all the people on the stage tell you the line, and then they open the door to suggest it to you, and then somebody writes it on a piece of paper and says door and holds it in front of you, and then somebody goes down on the audience and tells the audience, and they get the whole audience to say door, and the audience sort of chants door, but you can't, you just stand there, and the perspiration starts, and you start to shake, and finally they have to lower the curtain, and you can do one of two things. You can either go home, or you can start the act over again, which I've seen it happen. And that's it's really a very terrifying thing. But the other night, the dry-up is the terrible thing. But I finally got through it all right. But
You got through it beautifully.
It's a terrifying thing to think that that's possible, and it is, because I've seen it happen.
Well, now, you know, you didn't do anything the other night that was wrong. You were wonderful. So opening, you may know of all these non-fatal Roman numeral number 1 and 2 things, but you didn't do any of them.
Oh, well, yes. You don't, you do them sometime they aren't noticeable, but there were plenty of them.
Well,
Especially in the first act.
If
Yes?
you were, yes, if you were so nervous then in the the first few days of
Well,
the
it's
play.
getting better now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's getting better now because it's a pretty tricky part, and I'm getting sort of a little easier on. And another thing, I'm beginning to eat again. Yes.
Didn't you eat?
No. It's when you get nervous. I didn't eat. It's a very good habit.
Yes, it is.
Eating.
You're very thin. You don't look like you eat very much anyway.
Yeah, I don't. But it is a very good habit, and I'm glad to be back eating.
You are. I'm glad you're glad. How do you like Josephine Hull?
Oh well, that's been one of the wonderful things about the play. She's really an inspiration. I watch everything she does, every performance, and it's you can't. As many times as you see it, you can't help it laugh and go right along with her. She's an amazing actress and one of the finest in the country, I think, and in the world. Hers is a very, very difficult part. I mean, she's done several a little like this. You remember Mrs. Sycamore and You Can't Take It With You and Arsenic and Old Lace. But I think this is probably the best one she's had for a long time. She does a wonderful thing with the audience.
She's wonderful with her face.
Yeah, wonderful thing she does with the audience. She can just take them right with it.
Uh-huh. Jimmy, tell me, I have always heard that everybody sat up all night long to read the reviews. They would wait to do that. Did you do that?
Well, I wanted to. I guess that's a sign of age or something. I got tired. I went to bed.
Well, of course, if you'd been eating, it would have helped.
I
Maybe
think it
because
would.
You didn't eat.
Yeah.
What do you eat?
What do I eat?
Yes.
Oh, various types of things.
Have your mother and father come down from Indiana to see the play?
They were down, saw it Saturday night.
How'd they like it?
Well, they liked it pretty well. They thought it was fine. They're coming back. They're coming back tonight. They said they missed several things, so they're coming back.
Well, there is.
A lot of people laughed at things, and they didn't see it was funny, so they're coming back to see.
To see whether it is funny or not. Well, it was awful funny. I've seen it 5 times, and each time I thought it was funny.
It's a funny play. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful play.
Well, we think you're wonderful for coming down today and being our guest. Our guest was James Stewart, as you no doubt could tell, who is in Harvey, so everybody rushed to see it.
Barbara Wells will be back tomorrow at 3.
Goodbye, everybody.
This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.